I made a sword that can one-shot Warden in all the mods 10. There are 6 different weapon types that you can go for in all the mods 10. There is the dagger, the katana, the mace, the sword, the axe, and the trident. There are a few others that can be used in melee weapons, but these are the main weapons. So in terms of the differences, it's mainly to do with the attack speed and attack damage. The dagger has one of the lowest attack damages, but has a really high attack speed. The katana is one of the better options. It has one of the highest attack damages, also allows you to do sweeping edge, and has an okay attack speed. The mace has a lower attack damage, but obviously has the effects of a mace. So the more you're falling, the more damage it will do. This is probably an option, but I personally don't like it because every time you craft a mace, you need a heavy core, which is not the easiest thing in the world to get. Sword is kind of standard. It does the same damage as a mace, except it has higher attack speed. Sorry, and it has the same reach. But yeah, as I said, with the mace, the only difference is you have that falling effect when you hit. The axe is the highest attack damage in terms of base attack. However, it is only one more than the katana, so there is a trade-off of 0.5 attack speed. So you can see here, that's the dagger. The attack speed does fill up quite a bit quicker on the katana. And then obviously the trident has the same attack damage as a katana, and you can throw it. So, but once again, doesn't have that sort of effect of sweeping edge. So the 2 that we're going to be focused on today are the axe and the katana. So there are 6 main parts of both of these. You have a tool rod, a tip upgrade, binding, coating, a grip, and obviously the main part, which in this case is axe head, and in this case would be the katana blade. These are the materials that I recommend, with some cheaper options on the bottom. Coating, Netherite coating is the only coating that actually gives you any sort of noticeable attack damage or attack speed buff. We'll get into what the buffs are actually in a little bit. And then Unobtanium is the best, but obviously if you're not at that level yet, refined obsidian is the best like all the modium materials. As you go, you can upgrade it. So if I look up the all the modium plate, you can use that. If that's what your highest is, you can use vibranium, or all the modium is the best. Tool rod, these 2 are the 2 options that I've found. So titanium is slightly better, but does require quite a bit of stuff to go through. I personally haven't really gone through and done it on survival, so I'd recommend the second option. But if you do want that one-shotting potential, titanium might be where you go. So yeah, you need vacuum freezer from modern industrialization, which is pretty far into it, but a blaze rod is a good alternative to that. The grip, phantom membrane, I'd say is the best because it gives you the ancient trait. Ancient trait gives you some buffs, but you can use wall. There isn't actually much difference. These 2 both give you the same attack speed buff. The tip upgrade, you have 2 choices really. You have redstone or quartz. Quartz is good for max damage, but the redstone will give you a combination of damage and attack speed. And then for binding, I recommend Find Silk, because that gives you the lucky. Binding doesn't give you any bonus to to attack. But yeah, will give you that lucky whilst holding the tool. Yeah, so why did I choose these parts? With the blaze rod, it gives you a times 1.2 multiplier to your attack, whereas the titanium gives you a flat plus 5.5 as well as a times 1.25 if you have fully charged it with Star Charge 3 and maxed it out to, which I just realized I hadn't done on that. But yeah, if you get it to max. Main part is either the Unobtanium or axe head or katana, depending on what you're building. I would personally recommend the katana because katanas in itself give you an extra reach. So if I pull out an axe versus katana, you can see I have to be about here for it, whereas the katana gives you one extra block of reach, which I think is pretty nice. Grip is the next part. You can see here that you can use any kind of wall. Doesn't have to be green. I just like green. That's why I chose it. To get plus 0.2 speed, and then Ancient gives you that plus 0.2 speed. Phantom Membrane gives you that plus 0.2 speed as well as the Ancient buff. Yeah, there's not much to say about that. It's mainly just about attack speed. So this is where a big difference is. With the Quartz, you get plus 8.8 damage and the jagged effect. I believe with weapons, the jagged effect causes it to do more damage whilst it is broken. I might be wrong on that. I'll flash it up on the screen what it actually does if I am wrong. And then yeah, redstone gives you a lot less damage but does increase your attack speed by 0.5, which is also pretty good. So it's kind of a trade-off whether you want the attack speed or the damage. And then the coating, there's only really one option. It's 1.33 times the damage. I don't think it's multiplicative, so all of these times aren't times each other. They are additive, I believe. But I have noticed that with an axe and a katana, even after applying these things, so if I go and apply a coating to my axe here, you can see that damage goes up to 7.87. But if I apply it to the katana, 6.87. So it's the same buff no matter what you apply it to. Yeah, I'm not sure why that is. I don't know if that's a bug or something. But yeah, it's not based off of the type of damage. And as mentioned, this is the Fine Silk Binding. It gives you the trait of Lucky and Flexible 4. I think Flexible just increases its durability. Yeah, so the added bonus of increasing durability with a binding as well. Yeah, so the next part is I've split the enchantments into two because I feel like there is a recommended set and an optional set, and I'll get into why that is. But the recommended set, I've put Sweeping Edge, Sharpness, Tombstone Soulbound, Mending, Fire Aspect, Looting, Ruthless Strike, and Scavenger. So Sweeping Edge obviously is a really good enchant for stuff like swords. Doesn't work on axes, so if you're making a katana, obviously aim for the Sweeping Edge, but if you're making the axe, you don't need that. Sharpness just is the best damage increase against everything. If you want to make it more specific to a certain mob, you can use stuff like Smite or even Bane of Arthropods if you want. Mending, well, Tombstone Soulbound just means that you don't lose it on death. It's always nice. Mending, obviously repair with XP. Fire aspect just gives it a bit of extra fire damage. Looting, obviously great for drops, get more stuff. Ruthless Strike, I believe, is crit damage. Yes, you can see 3 from the bottom there. You got Ruthless Strike, which is increasing critical damage. Is always nice. That's why I said that it's a recommended one. And then Scavenger 3 is kind of like looting, but it just means that the mob rerolls its drop table twice instead of actually doing it. So I think there is technically a better chance with Scavenger to get more drops. And in terms of the optional, there are some ones that will break it. So like I mentioned in my last video, if you haven't checked it out, please do, for the bow, if you summon in a warden, or if you're using the advanced model up in the top right there, one thing that I have noticed, that if you have decrepitude on, which is reduces health of enemies hit by percentage over time, if you have that, you don't always get credited. Like there, I didn't get credited for the kill. So I would avoid that enchant if you are trying to make this for something like the Deep Learner. Other things, if you're just trying to make the best sword, I would definitely recommend it, because without decrepitude, it does a lot less damage. I would recommend against going for decrepitude. You do trade off a bit of that damage, but personally I think it's worth it if you are trying to farm things. In terms of the other optional enchants, these are all optional because they aren't really to do with damage. So ensnaring, I believe, is the... I just swing at him a bunch. That one there. That is ensnaring. Yeah, it slows enemies. It's pretty good. I don't think it really has any problems like decrepitude does. But yeah, not necessary for max damage. Severing is, I believe, reliquary related. And what that does is, yeah, severely increases drop rates for reliquary drops. Not necessary for damage. Soul looting, similar sort of vibe. I believe it's for apotheosis, gives you more souls, or it might be the mystical agriculture. Not sure. Please correct me if I am wrong. Life stealing, kind of like mending. Well, no, it's not like mending. You just steal health. Pretty good, but not necessary. Decrepitude, we've been over. Plaguebringer. That one is a bit of a weird one. I don't know if I have... Yeah, I do. As you can see, it kind of just adds random effects. Which isn't always the best, because one time I did get what's it called? Levitation on one of the wardens that I was killing. So the warden just started floating. So I maybe avoid that one. Unless you want your wardens to float, then go ahead. Ensnaring, I think I've mentioned. Yeah. And then incurable wounds is similar to decrepitude, but I don't think that one has a problem. It just, yeah, it reduces the healing done by mobs. And yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. Hopefully I've cleared up why I've chosen everything here. If you feel like there's something I missed, please leave it in the comments below. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. It really does help me out. If you enjoy this content, want to see more, let me know. And yeah, thank you. Bye.